Encounter with a Doppelgänger, a journey into identity and reality. Have you ever imagined meeting someone who looked exactly like you? Not just a resemblance, but someone who could walk into your home and have everyone convinced they were you? I never thought such a thing was possible until it happened to me. This is my story of the day I met my doppelganger, and how it left me questioning reality, identity, and even my own sanity. It all started on an otherwise normal Saturday afternoon. I had plans to visit a small-town flea market about 2 hours from where I lived. The drive was uneventful, the air crisp, and the countryside beautifully serene. I was looking forward to a day of browsing old books and antique knickknacks, unaware of the strange, life-altering experience awaiting me. As I wandered through the crowded aisles of the flea market, something unusual happened. People kept giving me odd, knowing looks, smiling and nodding as if they recognized me. But then a vendor called out, "Back so soon?" I stopped. Back so soon? I had never been to this market before. I laughed awkwardly and corrected him, but he just gave me a puzzled look and said, "You were here an hour ago. You bought the old pocket watch." I assured him he was mistaken and moved on, but my curiosity was piqued. Who was this person he thought I was? A flicker of unease began to creep in, but I told myself it was just a coincidence. It wasn't long before I saw them, or rather, I saw myself. I turned a corner into a quieter section of the market, and there they were, a person who looked exactly like me. Same height, same facial features, even the same hairstyle. They were wearing a green coat identical to the one I almost wore that morning but had left at home. For a moment I was frozen. My brain couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. They were browsing a table of antique clocks, completely unaware of me. I felt like I was looking into a mirror, but not quite. There was something subtly different in their posture, their demeanor, but they were unmistakably me. When they turned and saw me, their face paled. For a moment, we just stared at each other in shock. Then, as if jolted by some unseen force, they turned and walked quickly away, disappearing into the crowd before I could process what had happened. Shaken, I left the flea market early. On the drive home, my mind raced with questions. How is this possible? Was it a twin I never knew about? A coincidence? Or something more sinister? I started researching doppelgangers, and the results were both fascinating and terrifying. In folklore, doppelgangers are often considered bad omens, harbingers of death, or even malevolent entities. Some accounts claim that meeting your doppelganger is a sign that your life is about to change dramatically, or even end. But I wasn't superstitious. I needed a rational explanation, so I called my parents to ask if there was any chance I had a twin or sibling I didn't know about. They laughed off my questions and assured me I was an only child. Still, their dismissiveness didn't ease my mind. About a week later, I saw them again, this time in my own city. I was walking to a coffee shop near my apartment when I noticed someone sitting outside at a table. It was them. This time they noticed me immediately. They stood up and walked toward me, and my heart pounded in my chest. "We need to talk," they said. Their voice sounded like mine, but slightly off, like an echo in a dream. We sat down and they introduced themselves as Sam, a name eerily similar to mine. Sam claimed they didn't know how this was happening either. They said they had been noticing people reacting strangely to them as well, calling them by my name or mentioning places I had been. They described having vivid dreams of places they'd never been, only to find out they were places I knew well. It was unsettling how much their experiences mirrored mine, almost as if we were living parallel lives that had somehow crossed paths. As we talked, things became even stranger. Sam mentioned a scar on their elbow from falling off a bike as a child. I had the exact same scar from the exact same accident. They described a recurring dream they'd had for years, standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean. It was identical to a dream I'd been having since I was a teenager. We realized we even had overlapping childhood memories, though there were subtle differences in details. It was as if we had lived the same life but slightly out of sync. The conversation took a darker turn when Sam said they felt like their life had been off ever since meeting me at the flea market. They described feelings of displacement, as if they were losing their sense of self. Then they dropped a bombshell. Sam claimed they had started noticing small changes in their reflection. "It doesn't feel like my reflection anymore," they said. That's when I noticed it too. As I looked at them, their features seemed to subtly shift, as though their face was becoming less like mine. It was almost imperceptible, but it left me with a profound sense of unease. We agreed to meet one more time, this time at a park. When I arrived, Sam wasn't there. I waited for over an hour, but they never showed. I tried calling the number they'd given me, but it was disconnected. When I checked the coffee shop where we'd first talked, the staff said they'd never seen anyone who looked like me before. It was as if Sam had disappeared completely. To this day, I don't know what happened. Was Sam a long-lost twin, a reflection of my subconscious, or something otherworldly? Meeting them left me with more questions than answers. Sometimes I'll catch a glimpse of someone in a crowd and think I see them again, but when I look closer, it's always someone else. Still, I can't shake the feeling that our lives are somehow intertwined, and that the story isn't over. Doppelgangers have always been a source of fascination and fear. Whether they're a product of coincidence, parallel universes, or something supernatural, my experience has taught me one thing. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. Would you want to meet your doppelganger, or would you be too afraid of what it might mean?